Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission to order. It's Thursday, December 13th, and it's 7:03. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Harris?
Here.
Commissioner Stephen?
Present.
Commissioner Sims?
Here.
Commissioner DeJarnay?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Vice Chair Corsick?
Present.
Chairman Barnes?
Here. This time, Commissioner Sims, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Let's all stand and face the flag, do the pledge. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jeff. Next on the agenda is the approval of same. Can I get a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda as it stands.
All right.
Second.
Uh-oh. Commissioner's behind. My computer's not logged on. My computer's not logged on, so I can't vote. Sorry. That's what I get for showing up late.
Pretty good password.
There we go. My apologies. All votes are cast. The motion carries 7-0. All right, sorry about that. Next item on our agenda is the consent calendar. There is one item, approval of the minutes from October 25th, 2018. We need a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes of, what was that, October 25th, okay? Very good.
A second.
A second from Commissioner Harris. Please vote. Oh. Yep. Motion carries, it shows one absent.
I was.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Motion carries 6-0.
Along with absence, I'm abstaining.
There you go.
Got it. Well done. Thank you. Motion carries 6-0 with one abstention. Next, we come to the public comments portion of the meeting. Any person wishing to address the commission on any matter, either under the public comments section of the agenda or scheduled items or public hearings, must fill out a request to speak form available at the door. Remember, we will limit the time to 3 minutes. So, do we have any speakers?
We have one, Rafael Brugueras.
Mr. Bergaris.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, staff, residents, and guests. I want to say to each and one of you, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's been a wonderful 2018 working alongside of you to see our city grow. It's been a wonderful time out there, really. I've seen a lot of miles through the campaign. I've seen a lot of the approvals being built and waiting for those that made a commitment to build, because we're waiting for those also, you know. I know we have a lot of approvals, but we're still waiting for those that committed to build something, to build it, so we can get some of this dirt up from the ground and get some concrete down and get houses and apartments and jobs, streets, plumbing, electricity. boxes of mails, you know, everything that goes into development. I'm deeply grateful for each and one of you and those that were here in the past that made Moreno Valley what it is today. Because today, Moreno Valley is brand new. It has a lot of wonderful things that has come to the city. There's a lot of developers that are looking at us every week to see if they want a chance to come into Moreno Valley. Because we now have a lot of new residents. We are a city of 210,000. There's a lot of new residents, at least 150,000 new residents. Because the mayor on Snow Day mentioned when he first started it was only 44,000. We're now at 210,000. And a lot of people that came to live here in the late 90s, in the early 20s, and now see things different. See things that they've been waiting for a lot of years. So I'm deeply grateful for living in the city of Moreno Valley for 25 years and living under the M of hope, the light that stays out at night to let people know that we live in Moreno Valley. So don't lose hope. There's a lot of brand new things that are coming that we don't know about. And for those that listen to the Planning Commission monthly, you get to know what comes because you're involved. Stay involved because we need you to be involved. And I'm deeply grateful. Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brugueras. Seeing no other speakers, next item on the agenda are non-public hearing items, of which there are none. So with that, we'll move to our first case of the evening, PEN 18-0082. It's a conditional use permit, and the request before us is for a continuance to the meeting of January 10th, 2019. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As noted in the staff report, we are simply requesting a continuance in order to allow time for finalization of the PWQMP and the associated conditions. So there wouldn't be a need to open a public hearing. You would simply act on the request for continuance if that's your,
just a motion and a vote, and
please. Thank you.
we can do that. Someone like to make a motion?
I motion
To
to
approve?
continue. Oh, do I have to say the whole thing? Yeah.
We have a motion to approve the request for continuance?
Yes. Of, do I have to state the whole thing?
That's sufficient.
Yeah, we can't, you can do it verbally, though. We have a verbal second from Commissioner Sims.
I would just add the date that we're continuing it to into them. Is
Indicate
January
to-
10th, I believe.
January 10th.
To the meeting of January 10th, yeah. Thank you. All right, with a motion to continue till January 10th in a second, now we can vote electronically. All votes have been cast. Motion carries 7-0. The item is continued. Okay. Moving on, case 2, PEN 18-0016, conditional use permit. The applicant is Sater Oil International. Do we have a staff report?
Mr. Chair, the staff report would be presented by Associate Planner Gabriel Diaz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The applicant is requesting approval for a CUP, a conditional use permit for a new 3,180 square foot AM/PM gas station operating 24 hours a day with 8 fuel pumps, fuel islands, a car wash, convenience store, which includes a Type 20 alcohol sales and beer and wine license. There's the site plan aerial. There's the neighborhood commercial zone, that corner. The project is located at the northwest corner of Iris and Oliver Street. Property is approximately 1.31 acres and zone neighborhood commercial. A conditional use permit is required in the neighborhood commercial zone for a gas station use when located within 300 feet or less of a residential zone or use. In this case, both apply. The project is located within 1,000 feet away from the grounds of a school to the to the north. Parking for the project, the proposed gas station, convenience store, and car wash will provide on-site parking and is consistent with the city's municipal code. Access to the site will be from the from one driveway off of Iris Avenue and the other driveway off of Oliver Street. Both driveways will be restricted to right-in and right-out movements. There is an initial study that was prepared by LSA and Associates in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. The initial study provides information in support of the findings that a mitigated negative declaration serves as the appropriate CEQA document for the proposed project and has been attached as part of the staff report. Public notice was sent to all property owners, posted on the site, and published in the local newspaper. I have received about 6 calls, 5 against the project and 1 for the project. Most of the people that have commented do not want a gas station in their neighborhood. The one pro did want a gas station in his neighborhood. Planning has also provided comment letters and emails from the public. That's part of the record. They came in after the staff report was finished. Actually, they came in today. The applicant is present and will respond to the environmental letter. Staff recommendation, staff recommends that the Planning Commission take the recommended actions as proposed by the staff report. This concludes staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Does do any commissioners have any questions of staff? This time? No? All right. Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Ed Hale, H-A-L-E. My name appears on the face sheet of the application. I'm a senior project manager with Barg Housing Consulting Engineers. We're headquartered in Kent, Washington. I work out of our San Diego office, and we're privileged to represent Sater Oil International as our client, the applicant for this project. I just have a few brief comments that I'd like to start with. Number one, Mr. Sater is present, the president of Sater Oil, and he has expressed his he's very excited about being back into the city of Moreno Valley. Back in 2008, he had just sold the store that he'd been operating here for about 4 years. This project represents a commitment to the area. He's already got about $2 million into this project and expects to spend another $5 million or so to grade and construct and get this project up and running. He asked me to point out that this store will employ anywhere from 25 to 30 local residents as employees for the store. The projected sales from this project that he worked out with him and Marathon Oil is about $12.5 million a year in annual sales, which, if I understand correctly, represents about $125,000 a year for revenue for the city. And so this represents a substantial contribution or commitment to joining the community. And he's also looking at another property, and we've already been speaking with the staff on actually getting started on another one. This experience has been a very positive experience for us. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Gabriel Diaz and the development staff for their very responsiveness. They're very responsive in answering our questions. We've worked very closely with them over the last year to put together a package that not only that we think the staff can get behind, but of course that Mr. Sater can put his money behind. And so we're very excited about the design of the building, the layout, and are anxious to get started. And as soon as we can get approval, we're ready to pull the trigger on the construction documents and get those into the city for our construction permits. With me today, I have Dan Golwin, who is the architect of record. He is also the director of architecture for Barkhausen Consulting Engineers, and he's here to answer any questions you may have about the design of the building. I have with me Mr. Ray Hussey, who is with LSA and Associates. They're our environmental consultant, and I'm going to be inviting him to come up in just a moment to speak on the letter that was received from Mr. Leonardo Gonzalez. And then also we have Mike Glassman, who is with Marathon Oil. They are the franchisor. They're the corporation behind the franchisee who will be operating this gas station, and Jim Maddox, his broker. They're all here in case there are any questions that I can't answer from the commission. So before I move on, I just want to know if there's any questions that you have for the applicant.
Anyone? It appears no, so.
Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with you, I'd like to bring up Ray Hussey, our environmental consultant. That letter that you have in front of you raised a number of concerns. I'd like to point out that we got that letter today at just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and so we've been scrambling to put together a response to that letter, as you can imagine. So I'll beg your indulgence. If Ray, you could come up, please. And
Good evening, Chair Barnes and the other members of the Commission. My name is Ray Hussey. I'm with LSA Associates. We prepared the environmental document for this project on behalf of the city. There were a number of key studies that were also included and prepared for this in support of the initial study. And the typical ones that you might expect for any project like this: traffic, air, noise, biocultural. Those were all done in addition to some of the other engineering studies that were done directly by Sater Oil. Today there was a letter that came in by email from a party questioning some of the validity of the environmental documentation. There's about 8 points that are brought out. I'd like to just go through those very briefly, 1 through 8. The first one is in the first paragraph of a substantive comment regarding the fair argument rule and whether or not the environmental document is adequate or not. The fair argument rule sets a really low bar. It's easy to knock down an environmental document, as you all probably know. However, the initial study in front of you, as I mentioned, is based on a total of 8 technical studies, technical analyses from air quality, biocultural. We included geology, water quality. So there's a fair amount of technical expertise that goes into preparation of these things. The initial study itself is I think it's 50 some odd pages. That is more of a summary of all these technical findings. What the initial study does do is it either has rendered all impacts no impact or less than significant, or you have a series of mitigation measures that render all impacts less than significant. There's no need for an EIR. The fair argument is a fair argument test. However, the document you have before you is very bulletproof. The fair argument will lose if there is substantial evidence, if there is rationale, there's logic, and that's what you have in front of you. So that's point number 1. Number 2, notification of resource agencies. No, there's no responsible agency or approval or authority from anybody on this project. You don't have Caltrans. There's not a streambed alteration agreement. There are regulatory permits that any gas station in anywhere in this state would need to get. South Coast Air Quality Management District permits and the other things that are detailed procedures that gas station operators, such as the applicant team here, know what they are. So, no, that's wrong too. Thirdly, on the project description, schools were actually analyzed. So on page 32, there's a discussion regarding hazards impact. On page 38, there's a discussion on noise. I want to point out too that the air quality analysis does this analysis called a local significance threshold test. What that does is it takes the generation of air emissions, looks at the concentration of that, and they've created these lookup tables for you to say, well, within 100 feet are you going to have an impact or not? Well, it so happened that for this project, it was the 100-foot test, and that school is some 1,000 feet away. So there's no impact to the homes that are nearby. And again, this is just based on the science that's in front of us. Fourthly, deferred mitigation. No, the item that was pointed out for hazard is simply a regulatory procedure. A lot of times in mitigation worlds, we'll see this a lot of times in our EIRs and initial studies. Well, we'll put an innocuous mitigation measure. That's basically making the applicant do something they've got to do anyway. It really isn't a real mitigation. Thirdly, on hazards, page 21, I just mentioned it in relation to the schools. That's where we get into the whether those emissions from this project are creating the type of an impact that is related to the localized air pollution that this generation might create in terms of health effects and things of that nature. Number 6, noise. This happens all the time. Noise is a very complicated scientific process. Construction noise, things like a car wash, things that create a peak noise, that's got to be done with an Lmax type of a metric. You don't do that with LEQ as what was talked about in this letter. It happens all the time. I used to go through this all the time, and until I finally figured it out, it just hit me one day that the LEQ is this thing that we use in planning terms when the city is doing a general plan update and they want to locate uses that are noisy and going to create an environment that's loud. Well, not for a thing like a gas station. You want to look at the Lmax that was done, and that's why it was done. I try arguing that point with our noise experts, and I lose all the time. Public services, point number 7. Got to read my notes here. I can't see it. Well, that's a moot point. The environmental analysis is all about impacts to the environment. So this whole discussion about fire response times, it doesn't matter. The point is this project causing there to be a demand on services that causes there to be something either built in terms of facilities or renovation of facilities that in turn creates an environmental impact, and that we don't have that. Then the last issue, traffic. I'm not sure where this comment is coming from, but I found one instance in which there could have been some confusion caused in the traffic impact analysis. The city has a multiple threshold, if you might, in that there are some locations in which the level of service is C and other locations where it's D. In this location, it so happens that it is D. So early on in the traffic impact analysis technical study, there was reference to the fact that it's either C or D. However, it didn't make it clear. It went on and did the analysis based on D for that location at the junction of those two intersections that have a D policy. So there's another comment about the conditional use permit. Well, I'd kind of defer that one to the planners in terms of how to answer that one. But as far as the environmental issues that were brought up in this letter, I just wanted to get that into the record, and hopefully I have. If not, are there any questions?
Anyone? It appears not.
All right. Ed, I don't know if Ed, you want to come on back?
Thank you.
All right, very good. You're welcome.
I have one additional comment on the public services concern regarding response time. Prior to developing real estate on behalf of people like Sater Oil, I was a police officer with the Los Angeles Police Department for 13 years. And we used to, response time was an issue for us, and we did a lot of studies. A fire truck with a full load of water traveling at code 3 can average just under 40 miles per hour from the fire station to its point of the emergency. And at 1.4 miles, we are talking about 2.1 miles. So I don't know where he gets the 8 or 9 minutes, other than he was just doing a Google search there, and he doesn't take into account that the fire truck gets to run with a siren and a forward-facing red light as necessary in order to get to the emergency. So my calculation is 2.5 minutes max from the fire department. So I don't know if we have much more to say until after we've had a chance to hear what concerns the commissioners may have or the members of the public. We would like to reserve the opportunity to come back up and answer any of those questions afterwards if we could.
All right, very well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions from the commission? Of staff or the applicant? Without entering into any deliberations.
I just want to note that
Oh,
Commissioner Barnes and I met with the applicant probably 4 months ago or so with city staff at City Hall to go over some just preliminary, we were being introduced to the project, so just wanted to disclose that.
thank you.
I do have a couple of questions. If staff could kind of help, I mean, these traffic studies, I'm not a traffic engineer, so but looking back, I'm looking at page 761 of the report. And if I understand what this table means, that it's table 4B, project completion year 2022, roadway segment levels of service is, am I to understand that with the project is the level of service still remains at A as compared with these road segments as, or without the project? I guess I'm trying to understand what that means. There's a level of service standard, and these I assume would be the minimums. And then as you get through there, the analysis shows without the project, the level of service is all A, and then with the project, it would be with A. Is that correct?
I'm trying to find the table. Hold on a
It's on
second.
page 761 of the packet.
So as you pointed out, so Eric Lewis, city traffic engineer. So as you pointed out, at the opening year of 2022, with the project, the levels of service remain what their current levels are at A.
Okay. And then going further, and if you go like on to page 782, it talks about circulation improvements, and from what I could see, it doesn't appear that there's any improvements required from traffic impacts.
There will be a small raised median required on Oliver as part of the project.
But no ancillary type improvements at other intersections or traffic lights or anything like that.
That is correct.
The other the concern that kind of I have on this thing is lighting. And then, lighting, and that would be, because since it says 24/7 operation, is that the lighting, and I'd like staff to address what kind of analysis was done to see how the light would affect the properties to the east, and also to the, would be to the south. And then my only other concern is the car wash. Typically, when you go to car washes, the wash is pretty quiet, but it's when the blow dryer blows the car off, that typically is a loud sound. So I'd like staff to kind of address what the attenuation is for the sound and also on the light impacts.
Thank you, Commissioner. As far as the light, there was no special studies regarding the light. This project would meet the requirements for lighting for all commercial centers, which is the maximum of 8 foot candles. And for the car wash, there was a noise study. When we first reviewed the project, I have reviewed other car washes in town, and there has been sound attenuation regarding other car washes in regards to how close they are to other properties. And this one, the blower is oriented towards more of the commercial side, away from the residential. And a noise study was completed and meets the requirements of the initial study. And overall, it is away from the residents to the east.
As far as the lighting, I'm less concerned about, I'm assuming that the lighting would be sufficient for the operation within the interior of the project. I'm more concerned about the hooding. Could you speak to that? What should the residents on what east side expect to see?
There wasn't a special lighting study for the project. You would expect to see what you see at other gas stations. I know some gas stations, probably the older ones, do exceed the maximum of 8-foot candles. Currently, I have a gas station on Cactus that's going in, and they are meeting the current requirements of the 8-foot candle. I know if you compare it to maybe kind of a car dealership type, those foot candles are up in excess of like 50 to 30, somewhere in there. If you need something to compare it to as far as glare. As far as
Maybe you can help me on this. What's the height of these poles in relationship to the fencing on the fencing that would be on the west side or the east side of these residences on, what's the name of it, Oliver Street?
I'm assuming that's probably a 6 foot high wall next to the single family homes, and there is no light poles proposed at this time. That comes through the construction process of submitting building plans. You submit your lighting plans. I'm not too sure they will need poles for lighting. You can attach lighting to the building does have decorative lighting and will provide lighting for the parking spaces adjacent to that. Obviously, when you're pumping gas, there's lighting underneath there also. Maybe the applicant could provide a better feel for what their lighting plan is. But at this point, the only condition of approval from planning is that they need to meet the lighting requirement.
I think maybe where Commissioner Sims is going is, what is the commercial requirement? Can the poles be 50 feet high or 20 feet high, or are they not stipulated in the code?
Well, there are limitations as far as the height of the poles, but I think more importantly, and we could have the applicant speak to whether there are poles here. I don't believe they're showing. They are showing at least one light pole that I see. But so we could get clarification on the height of the pole. But the key is that regardless, under our code, that the lighting has to diminish at the property line to 1/2 foot candle or so. So basically, when you get out to the street, there should be no more added light to what you'd have from the street lights. So that's in our code. We would be looking at the lighting plan in that respect. In addition, there are requirements for shielding of those light structures, and we certainly can give particular attention to that given the sensitivity of the residential to the east.
So what I just heard is the lighting should be similar to what street light is if I was on the east side of Oliver Street.
That is correct.
Okay, and then going back to the car wash. Is there a way to subjectively, but to give a objective kind of feel for the actual sounds that would be at the center line of Oliver Street? If I was standing in the middle of Oliver Street and I was listening to the car, what would I be hearing? Is it, decibels are kind of an esoteric. I don't know what decibels I'm speaking at right now. So am I talking at 20 decibels? Is that a sound somebody would hear, or?
Well, I just, before I would answer that question, I just mentioned that there are limits on the hours of operation of the car wash. It is not a 24-hour operation. It's 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So there isn't going to be nighttime activity with that operation. With regard to the specifics of what you would hear, I believe it would be largely attenuated, but I think we might want to inquire of the applicant as to whether their consultant has any feedback on that.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
And the car wash exits in a westerly direction, right?
That is correct.
So that's the drier end. That's right. Okay. All right. Does that answer your questions?
Yes. Well, it
Um,
does, and I want to hear.
Yeah, would the applicant like to speak to that?
Hello, Ray Hussey again. That is, I'll admit, it's a pretty complicated discussion, but there is a solid paragraph of numerical thresholds that are discussed, the amount of noise that the blower creates, the distance attenuation, and then the blocking of the noise from, help me out here, is there a wall there? Yeah, from the wall. So with all that, it does slide right underneath the noise limits that are allowed per the code. Again, it is a blower noise, you're gonna hear it, but it does fall within what is allowed per the numbers. So that's what is happening on the summary of all that is contained in the technical study goes into it in a lot of detail. The initial study has it on page 41, right on the top. There's a discussion on all of that. And again, this is a type of analysis where it is based on the anticipated peak noise coming from that car wash blower. And then there's the two parts that would attenuate. Well, there's actually three things that attenuate noise. One of them is the direction that it's occurring. So one thing that I believe that the applicant did early on is switched the location, everything around as it is proposed, so that that noise would be projected out to the west, towards the west. There's that, and then the distance to the sensitive receptors, the homes. That noise then diminishes over distance, and then it is diminished even further by the concrete wall. So with all that, I think it slid right underneath. There's a little bit of a range in expected reduction of noise from all these various attenuation features. So it just so happened that the way the numbers worked out with the range of attenuation, it would result in a 54 to 59 dBA Lmax number. And I believe for analytical purposes, I believe the threshold happened to be right there at 60. Yeah, there it is. I can see that without my glasses too, so. Does that explain it?
And what location is that theoretical? Is that at the west wall?
It's the distance from the car wash to the nearest resident.
Oh, that's at the residence, okay.
Yeah, and it's the way it's supposed to work. And again, I'm not my noise guy. I'd have to call our guy in Irvine, but it's supposed to be right to the property line. So at least that part of it is fairly conservative. So in other words, is it going to create an increase in noise in that area? Yeah. But most vacant properties that are developed, there's some increase, right? And then also, it's good to point out that it's within the tolerances of what the code allows.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, shall we move on to the, excuse me.
I was just at the exit of the car wash, the decibels will be 101 decibels. And then the attenuating walls, I found in some places where it said it was going to be up to 6 feet. And then other places I saw that it was going to be up to 7.3.
The 7.3 is the retaining wall, which is below the height of the car wash. There is a retaining wall to the northeast corner of the site because the site is on a slope. And the 6 foot high wall would be the 6 foot high wall that's existing for the residents.
Okay. I thought I saw that it was 7.3 on the north and west side of the property or the project.
That is correct. Let me put the site plan on here. So the northwest is basically where the car wash is coming out. And that corner of the site has a retaining wall that's 7.3 feet high on the highest point. And it gradually tapers down to Oliver, and it tapers down to Iris.
Thank you.
All right, any others? All right, seeing no other questions, let's open the public hearing. Do we have,
Public testimony?
pardon me, public testimony? Thank you, Paul. Do we have speakers? I'm guessing we do. Oh, sorry, let me get the list back up. Raymond Talbot,
Yes.
you're first on the list.
Ray Talbot, 15441 La Costa Drive, a ways to the east of the location that's in question. What I would like to speak to is just the general principle that you have a municipal code that says that gas stations shall not be within 300 feet of residential areas. This one is. As a consequence, you have to go through the issue of whether or not to grant a conditional use permit. You certainly don't have to grant such a permit, but the fact that you have to go through a conditional use permit boils down to you deciding whether or not all these technical mitigation things, which were just discussed a few moments ago, have been satisfied or not to your satisfaction. If you simply adhered to the municipal code and did not place something within 300 feet of a residence, your life would be simpler, and everyone else's life would be simpler, and the residents would be a lot happier. I would like to also point out something which has not been discussed. There's all these issues about being within 1,000 feet of a school, and I understand all of those, and I'm sure some of the following speakers will talk about their children and so on and so forth. I've heard nothing to discuss the impact on the adjacent hospital. That's a commercial property. It's Kaiser. Maybe you don't care about whether or not this has any impact on a commercial property, which is adjacent, but I would think that you might care if it's a hospital. And if there are environmental issues which are special for children 1,000 feet away, there are surely equal considerations for a hospital and other medical facilities which are equally close by, and that should at least be addressed and discussed, and I've seen nothing about that. So I'd ask you to consider that issue. In summary, I'm simply opposed, and I'm sure there's going to be many following speakers which will address some of the specific issues that I would resonate with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Talbot. Next speaker, Sylvia Taylor.
Good evening. My name is Sylvia Taylor, and I've been a resident in Moreno Valley for a very long time. I'm here as a concerned parent and a resident. I am totally opposed to the Arco gas station on the corner. I'm a parent of a 13-year-old that attends Landmark Middle School and a 9-year-old that attends La Jolla Elementary School. My 13-year-old, along with many of his friends in the area, they walk to and from school. They cross Iris straight down Oliver every day. Although my 9-year-old doesn't walk to school, I do see many La Jolla Elementary students walking to school, either with parents or unfortunately by themselves. As Iris, to me, is already a very busy street, and there has been many accidents on that street. It's a lot of traffic on that street. According to me, it's a lot of traffic. I know I heard them say otherwise. There's different ways. But I think with the gas station, it's going to potentially bring more traffic and unwanted pedestrians in that whole area. By the way, I live across the street. I live up the street, Oliver. So in order for me to leave out of my residential area, I have to cross Iris and Oliver. I was wondering why we're making it so convenient for I say our vulnerable children, those are our middle schoolers, and we know how they are. They're going to find a way to get over to this gas station. Let's just walk around the back and go up, because they walk that way anyway. And I know that they're selling type 20 alcohol, which is beer and wine. I know you say, that's fine, you know, we're going to have provisions there where the students can't buy it, they can't get it, but there's other ways that they can get it. And so that really concerns me. There's a lot of other reasons why I totally oppose this, but to me the most important one is about the students. I forgot to say, but I am a retired school teacher from this district, so I've been here for a long time. So I have a history of what goes on with the schools. I did talk to Mr. Walker, the school principal, and he said right now his attendance is 96%. And he was concerned about his students having another place or place that they can go hang out. So at this point, I just want to say I do oppose this vehemently with having our students that actually walk this pathway every day to and from school. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Josie Arias. No?
Gabrielle Sibley.
Oh, pardon me, Gabrielle Sibley. My apologies. All right, you're here, go ahead. And then,
Good evening, my name is Josie Arias, and here we are again. We were here previously when you listened to us as a planning commission, and you opposed the gas station and the car wash that was going to be opposite us. I live on 27925 Via Sonata, close to Moreno Beach and JFK. Now my backyard is directly, I live on the golf course, and the green is behind me, and it's from La Casa to Landmark. Every night we have, and there's empty lots, there's nothing developed there. We have kids that come in, the teenagers, we have the drinkers, we have the bottles getting thrown into our yard, we have the weed. In front of us is the park. We have homeless, we still have syringes, we still have condoms, we still have people that are there all night long. And La Casa goes into, Via Sonata, it goes into Legendary. The cars at speed now. There is, I just, seriously, I am not impressed by people that come in with their money and they don't live there. They don't know what we go through on a daily basis. That just isn't fair to us, you know, and to say, oh, that's a moot point. Oh, it's just noise. No, we live there. And we're asking that you listen to us again. You listened to us the last time and you believed in us, and that's what we're asking for you to do again, to think about it. Think about us, think about the children. My grandkids live with me now, and I am just so opposed to it. I can't believe we're even here again. Thank you.
thank you. Now Gabrielle Sibley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gabrielle Sibley. I am opposed to the gas station on the corner of Iris and whatever that street is. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Okay, I'm proud of the city. I've been here in Moreno Valley for 2 years. Do we have to sell ourselves short for a gas station and forget about our children and the people who lived here and supported this great city for years, paid taxes, and I think this is unjust for us to be treated like this. Even the thought of having a gas station at the corner of Oliver and Iris, and all the, one of the gentlemen talking had a car accident right into a motorhome go through his house. And I feel like he didn't talk about that. But anyway, I feel like it's unjust, and the impact of our school children, the safety, and the hospital close by, within close proximity, and it provides a safe haven for criminals. There's already a lot of criminal activity on Iris over in the shopping center, and it's just right down the street, not that far away, and it's just too close to the homes, and I hope that you will consider each one of our voices and just don't think about the dollar signs. We're doing fine. The 25 people who are going to be hired, they'll find jobs. It doesn't have to be at a gas station where they shoot up, and it's just too dangerous. And I would not want anybody's blood on my hands. I like to sleep at night. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Gerardo Rios?
Hi. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Gerardo Rios. I live at 27517 Shelley Way. It's about 700 feet from this proposed project location. I oppose this project 100%. If there was more than that, I'd oppose it more. And I do it for a safety concern. I know a lot of other concerns have been addressed for the safety of the kids, the environment, but traffic. Traffic safety is a big thing for me. I've had a car end up in my property, okay, just because they misjudged a turn because they were going to go pick up their kids from school. I've had my neighbor have a car actually drive into their bedroom, okay. There's been 2 fatal accidents within the last 8 years that I know of when I've lived there on Iris and Oliver. 2 fatalities, okay? And then knowing that, you know what, I've had a car end up on my property, and now we're going to try to increase the traffic by adding a gas station, you know, that's absurd. And then on top of that, you know, I know that they're doing studies for noise and all that stuff, but I mean, I'm 700 feet away, and I'd gladly like to trade places with whoever the developers are, so you can go ahead and live there and hear all the noises that you're going to have to deal with. 100 decibels, that's the equivalent to a jackhammer, okay? And that's what I'm going to be exposed to, and I don't think that it's fair. So with that being said, I'm totally opposed to this project. I really thank you for your time, and I appreciate the fact that you're listening, and we're going to have more people up here, and I just thank you very much. I don't know. I wasn't prepared to talk, but...
Thank you. Emily Ingersoll?
Hi, good evening. I wasn't prepared to talk either. I've been a resident of Moreno Valley for 18 years. This is the first time I've ever come to a meeting like this, so that should say a lot for the fact that I'm adamantly opposed to having a gas station in my backyard. I live at 15569 Gala Court. My house is represented on one of those maps you put up there, so the whole back part of my house, from my 13-year-old son's bedroom, he'll have a nice, pretty view of an AM/PM sign. And aside from that, I'm concerned about the fact that there's plenty of other non-residential areas that you can place a gas station. Crime has been a concern of mine in Moreno Valley for quite some time. In the 18 years that I've lived here, I've seen it continue to rise, especially in the area that I live in. Having a gas station built there will bring traffic, loitering, more opportunities for crime, let alone the noise. I feel like it's the obligation of the city to listen to all of the residents and to represent the residents who are sitting in this room and have taken their time out in the middle of the week to come and voice their concerns. And I would just ask any of you if you would want to have a gas station with a car wash 300 feet from where you live, or any of these people in their big fancy suits have a gas station that close to where they live. I don't think the answer would be yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Leonardo Gonzalez?
Hello, staff and planning. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My signature is on the letter that was submitted to you guys that is discussed in the MND. So being that was addressed already, I'll kind of let that go. There is a time and a place to discuss those issues if this project were to be approved. So I will speak to you as a resident tonight, being that I live about half mile away from the proposed project site. And, you know, this is kind of one of those repetitive things that just keeps happening in Moreno Valley. You know, earlier Raymond discussed the potential impact to the hospital, not just the school. But what about the potential impact to future developments? There's nothing but vacant land surrounding that parcel. I believe it's 1.5 acre parcel or whatever it is. But what other developments are going to want to go in there that are going to be right next to a gas station? You know, as planning, it's your guys' job to really see what the vision for the city is and when you really think about it, there's really not going to be anything there. That's why it's a very hodgepodgey, very, patchy town, the way that it was, the way that it was planned out. There's no vision for it. And if we're just going to allow people to come in and just kind of put gas stations here and that there, I mean, who knows? Maybe we might end up with a dispensary right next to it. That seems to be the only things that want to come in town nowadays. So really just encourage you guys to, to take a look at the environmental notes, that were submitted, and as well as really what the vision for the future is, especially the East End. Because I made a commitment to not make the East End look like, the West End of Moreno Valley, and as you can tell, the residents here are very passionate about that. So with that, thank you for allowing me, and I will let somebody else take my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jose Morales.
Good evening. Well, I oppose this project. Actually, I've been here in Moreno Valley for 2 years. Seen the crime go up. You can come to my house. I show you my security camera videos that I have. Half a mile on Oliver, south of Iris, we got prostitution going on. With this gas station, we're gonna see more people that we don't want around the area. Now, to the gentleman that said that it takes about 2 minutes for response time, I'll tell you, it takes longer than that. I mean, I had people come in, cops 20 minutes, 30 minutes later. Now you got a school down for our kids down there. Armed robbery, first thing, school. That's one of the things that I'll pick to take, hostages. And that's one of the things that I don't want. You get all this stuff that comes up, I mean, for security for everybody, the accidents, the more traffic that we're having around the area. And it's a big old safety concern for our community. I really don't want that gas station around our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Rafael Brugueras.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, staff, residents. I drove by this property and I know the area real well, real well. In 1993, when I came here, there was nothing in that entire East End, nothing on Moreno Beach. It was all dirt. If we would have put the gas station there first, they would still would have built the houses across the street from it, okay? Like every other place. Sonamy Ranch has a gas station up there. Wherever you go, you put a gas station, they'll build everything around it, okay? That's a fact, okay? Now, I want to use the example of Chevron on Moreno Beach and Alexandro, okay? That's the newest one in that district. When you go there at night, the lights are facing downward, not outward where it illuminates the area. So when you're coming down the hill, it's not like it's bright. You really got to get close, and all the lights are all down on the pumps or on the cars or the people pumping the gas. So that's the light issue, okay? The car wash, I thought there was 15 because I didn't read it correct. One car wash. How many of us in this building have been to the pump and answered 4 questions? Want a receipt? No. Want gas? Yes. Want a car wash? No. Okay? One car wash. You can have 20 cars there and maybe one car will go through the car wash and the other 19 will leave. Because majority of them will go to the plaza on Alexandra or another car wash. Okay? So that car wash, and if you go to the one on Alexandra, it's a 5-minute wash. So what you hear? The bubbles, the light, I mean, whatever, the soap, and wash it, and it's out. It's not like you sit there and you dry it like the other ones. So it's a 5-minute job, one car wash, okay? Everybody had one time said no to car wash. Not everybody washes their car at a gas station, really, at all, unless you got a deal, okay? That's a fact. What gives you some more trouble is the other Arco on Moreno Beach by Walmart with all the vacuum cleaners outside. The new thing they did. That's more noise than the one car wash, okay? Now, they say that we have 30 gas stations throughout the city. I say there's 100,000 cars in this city, And if we all went to the car and divide that, that's 3,000 cars per gas station. Okay, how many of us are going to wait to be number 1,000 to buy gas? That's why we have gas stations, so we can select other things to go. Okay, I wish they had a Taco Bell and a Subway there. That would draw more people to buy things around our neighborhood and expand it better. That's why I say we're growing new.
Thank you. Next speaker, Angelica Avina.
Good evening. I've been here before. We had an incident where, well, we had a developer that was proposing a gas station on the corner of Moreno Beach and John F. Kennedy. Fortunately, he understood our concerns as residents of that community, and he withdrew the project. But now we have another one coming in. And my concern are the children. Not the last planning commission meeting that we had from the previous gas station, there was a member here, and I'm going to paraphrase. He said, if there's a robbery, not if there's, but there will be a robbery, where will that robber go, that thief? There's a school right there. It's convenient to go into the school. Children are out there playing during PE. It's a really good hiding place. Also, the children walk to school on that street. They cross Iris to Oliver, and then they walk to Landmark or to La Jolla Elementary. Now, a gas station doesn't attract the best people. It is a petri dish for increased drugs, vandalism, crime, burglary, assaults. It creates a dangerous, unsafe, and hostile environment for residents and children. Children will be at risk by shady characters hanging at the gas station, offering drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, being harassed and assaulted. I have witnessed this. So that's a concern of mine. Also, the harmful chemicals produced by a gas station. It's not a contained environment. Benzene is linked to childhood leukemia, Hodgkin's lymphoma. They are known to increase asthmatic episodes on people who suffer from upper respiratory issues. They increase hospitalization because they get their condition exacerbated. The noise and the lightning also affect people with disabilities, such as autism. And you don't know if any of the residents have autistic children there, living there. That corner, if you see the houses, I mean, it would be nice if all of you would stand there and see those homes and see that corner. I really oppose this gas station, and I just hope that you will vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Josie Robles.
Hello, hi. My name is Josie, and I live across the street on Legendary. I did come here last time for the gas station being built on Moreno Beach and JFK. My concerns also are the children. I go on my walks during the day, and I love how beautiful and quiet it is, but I've also gone in the evening when there's a lot of loitering by the parks. We have people doing drugs, we find syringes, we find condoms, and just really bad people around there. On Oliver, people are always speeding down those streets. They speed down my street, Legendary, all the time. So having a gas station there is obviously going to bring not all bad people, but a lot of bad people into the area. They're going to be going by and getting more booze. They're going to be going with their loud music. They're going to be getting out of there. And again, as everyone else has said, there's a lot of children, lots of children that go walking around there. And that is my biggest concern. And I oppose the gas station. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Alfred Lopez, and I live, that was my wife. We live on Legendary. And I'm just gonna tell you, as a truck driver, that what I know about noise levels, and I'm not concerned about the blower of the gas station or anything like that. To supply a gas station, you need a petrol truck, you need the alcohol trucks, you know, Budweiser, Miller, you need the Pepsi truck, the Coca-Cola truck. All that commercial vehicles, they're diesels. California Clean Air Diesels, they have to run this this thing that they call regens. And if they still so happen to say, hey, well, I have a delivery here at this gas station, I'm gonna go ahead and run a regen. It's a way to clean out the diesel filter. And it's loud. It's full RPM for about 45 minutes. That's loud. I don't know about a blower. I don't know about 100 decibel. I don't even know what that means. I just know that when you're standing there, and even at the back of a 53-footer, you can hear it, and it's super, super loud. And that's 53 feet. You keep on going maybe another block, you can still hear it. And that's full RPM for 45 minutes. That's just, I'm not even worried about the blower. That ain't even as loud as a truck. So all this truck traffic, and mind you, they're gonna turn off the blower at 10 p.m. or whatever. Petrol truck, a gasoline truck, it's gonna come whenever they need gas. So you're talking 3 o'clock in the morning, they need gas, it's gonna come. It's gonna park, it's gonna be loud, it sets its brakes, it's a lot to keep an AM PM going, to keep any gas station going, it's specifically an AM PM. And not only that, the traffic that's on Iris, it comes off of Moreno Beach and it curves right into Iris. Speed limit's about 50, people are doing 60, 70 sometimes. And if you get a car to get hit on a car coming out of, which is a blind curve, somebody coming out of Iris, and somebody doing about 70 on Iris, they hit that car and they end up in the gas station. I don't care how fast the fire trucks can get there, you're gonna have an explosion because it is gas. And I'm opposed. If you can't tell, I'm totally opposed. And you know, we were here. This is deja vu. I don't want it. I hope you guys listen to me. You know, just make the right decisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lynette Antoine?
Hi, my name is Flynette Antoine, and I'm a resident in the area. And I'm just asking that you guys do not approve this gas station to be built in our community. It's a Shell's gas station, not either, 2.5 miles on Paris and Iris. And also, it's the new Chevron gas station, not even, about 2 miles? 1 miles on Alexandra and Moreno Beach. And I'm just opposed of it. I don't think that we deserve this in our community. And I agree with everyone else when they say, you know, no disrespect, but if you guys want to take it to y'all community, we're right there. It's homes there. The kids is there all day long. Our crime level is high. We have ring on most everyone have ring. We see all day long people in our neighborhoods, walking up and down our neighborhoods. ARCO is going to bring a whole nother level of crowd in our area. We're homeowners. We're trying to keep our property up. We're trying to keep our value up. It's easy for us to put our house on the market and say, okay, I'm moving out of Moreno Valley. I've been here for 29 years. And the city is steady going down. We can't be money hungry. We got to build a city up, keep it going. We are purchasing, this is my third home in Moreno Valley. And at this point, I'm like, please don't build this, because if y'all do, I'm gonna have to move. I'm gonna have to put the house on the market and leave Moreno Valley. So I'm asking that you guys please not put this ARCO in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Robinson?
Good evening. I've lived in the city
for 30 years. I've lived across the street there from the proposed location of that gas station for the last 15 years. When I first bought my home, that area was fairly empty. Then I saw Kaiser Permanente take over the Moreno Valley Hospital. And I saw Stater Brothers come in to that community. I saw new elementary schools built in that community. I saw the community grow, and I was able to sit in my home, in my community, and enjoy that. That type of growth is very positive for the community. We needed a hospital. We had one medical facility, Kaiser, that was over off of Heacock. Now the current Kaiser facility that's across the street from my backyard, because my house is situated on Iris, and my backyard will look right at the gas station, as it does Kaiser Permanente as well. And the noise from Kaiser, I can hear it in my bedroom, I can hear it in my backyard. I can hear the traffic roaring up and down that street continuously. I've planted shrubs around my house in a way to try to dampen that. It's not happening. Kaiser is planning to expand. I think it's a good thing that Kaiser is going to add some additional beds to their hospital. They have a 3-phase plan in place that they're looking at, and I'm assuming the commission is probably reviewing it now. This gas station is not going to help that area at all. The noise from that gas station, the noise, and coupled with the noise from the street and the noise from Kaiser. So I'm standing here opposed, asking you guys to look a little bit closer, look at the environmental aspect of it. Maybe they do need to do an EIR. You know, I haven't had an opportunity to read the negative deck. You know, I got a letter, or a friend in my neighborhood asked me to come and speak or come and visit, so I came here. So, you know, I work in this type of industry. I'm a civil engineer. You know, I could probably read the document and provide some adequate comments, but I haven't had that opportunity to do so. But definitely, I know that the noise levels in this area are going to be significant. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? All right. Having no other speakers, would the applicant like to come forward and make a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moreno Valley is should be proud of the fact that they have a number of people from the community that have taken the time to come out here and express their concerns. Often when I do these presentations, it's very apathetic, and it's kind of pathetic in a way. So this actually gives me an opportunity to address these concerns. And I'm not trying to patronize them. I really am not. I'm a planning commissioner, or have been a planning commissioner in the city where I live, and it's invigorating to see a real public dialogue about what's the future of our city. And if this gas station were to be the kind of gas station picture that's been painted by the folks that have expressed their concerns, I'm not so sure I would want that gas station in my backyard either. The picture that I'm given is this big, bright, loud gas station with cars flying in and out at 70 miles an hour and a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics trying to give drugs and alcohol to kids. And that's a scary image, but unfortunately it's not consistent with the way this applicant, Mr. Sater, and the gas stations that he operates, certainly not consistent with the gas stations that ARCO would have us operate. This particular development is going to be a very beautiful building. We put a lot of time and effort into this design to make it look attractive. I was quiet while you spoke, and I appreciate the same courtesy, please. It's going to be a very beautiful building. We're going to invest a lot of money in landscaping. It's going to be a very pretty thing to look at as far as gas stations go, okay?
And so I'm a little concerned that the image that's been painted here is one of reckless abandon, and it's just not going to be the case. It is not good business to not maintain the gas station to its premium cleanliness and efficiency. So this gas station will have regular attendants out picking up any trash that comes, whether it's from our customers or not. There are a number of operational policies that are put into place to dissuade vagrancy. If you have an alcohol license, you cannot sell to anyone who is giving alcohol to kids or that is young. And we will follow all of the rules and then some, because when we get a Type 20 license, the police department gets to impose their conditions upon us through the ABC in order for us to sell the alcohol. Yes, it's going to be well lit, but it won't be excessive. We shield the lights so that right at the property line there will be 1/2 maximum candlelight at the property line, so it's not going to be emitting a lot of noise, or a lot of light. And the residents on the far side of the street from the gas station are not going to be hearing much more than what's already the ambient noise from the traffic that's coming through there now. When we put out our notice to the community, we send a letter to every one of those residents. And in fact, our Mr. Sater has walked the neighborhood and has talked to the neighbors. And the overwhelming response when he talks to them one-on-one is that they're very happy to have a gas station for them to purchase cheap gasoline. It's just not reasonable to expect that somebody who gets a letter that says that, hey, we're going to have this a proposal that's going to come before the Planning Commission. It's a lot to ask those people to give up their evening to come out and say, yeah, I'd like to have a gas station. So it's not a universal opposition. And Mr. Sater will probably have something more to say about that. And then I understand that, Jim, you had some things that you wanted to talk about. Is that right? I'm sorry, Bill. I beg your pardon, Bill. Bill, yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and distinguished members of the Commission. My name is Bill Colazzo. I'm at 2883 Davis Lane in Highland. I work with Sater Oil as a consultant and as a real estate broker. I would like to address specifically one of the concerns that the audience here expressed, and that is the Kaiser Permanente facility. We did meet with both Mr. Corey Seal, who is the administrator of that particular facility, that particular hospital. We also spoke at the same time with Mr. George Velasco, who is the assistant administrator of Kaiser Permanente in Riverside. And I see that Riverside oversees the Moreno Valley facility. They both expressed 100% support for the gas station. We indicated to them that it was going to be everything that our engineering has expressed to you, adhering to every letter of the law and requirements that have been put forth as conditions of approval. They indicated that because they are expanding, and they do plan to expand, they didn't go into any specifics, but I would imagine that the vehicle traffic counts today are only going to increase probably by 2-fold, maybe 3-fold. And that's not traffic that we will be producing. That will be traffic that Kaiser Permanente, one of the major HMOs in the country, and they are happy to be in Moreno Valley, as we are as well. We plan not to only come in and build one gas station. We plan to build other facilities. The Sater Oil, Mr. Sater also owns the Steak and Shake near Walmart. They say it's Riverside city limits, but I call it Moreno Valley. Anyway, and so we plan nothing but a quality facility. The gentleman that first spoke today talked about development. Development equals progress. Lack of development, there's nothing. We're only adding a gas station to this neighborhood. We have 42 cameras in the building for safety reasons, for security. We have talked to city officials, including the mayor, and have assured him that if there are any elements, bad elements, we will immediately call the police, we will immediately call city officials, and he indicated that that would be a quick response. You know, we want to be good neighbors. We want to invest in the community, not only with a gas station, mind you, but in other things. There are recreational needs. There are other needs. There's infrastructure needs. And as I'm not going to repeat myself as far as a lot of notes that I wrote here, and for the fear of becoming redundant, but I would also like to add that I was a planning commissioner for the county of San Bernardino for 6 years. And one of the things that I advocated as a commissioner is, and I told when there was an application and there was opposition, I totally and vigorously proposed that the two sites get together. We are willing to get together with you and discuss this. And assuming that we do get approved tonight, we're not going to walk away tonight empty, and with no other future communication with the residents. We make a pledge that if we get approved tonight, we will meet with everybody. Everybody here, individually, as a group, we will explain totally and in more specific what this project is all about. I hope that you've taken into consideration that staff has recommended approval and that this does conform with land use laws. And I really, really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the applicant?
Good evening, everyone. I really wasn't planning to talk tonight, but the activity that happened that make me feel like I'm a criminal or something. I'm doing something wrong. So I want to address a few issues that the community went and talked about. I'm a father. I have 4 kids. So I understand where they're coming from. So the way we operate our sites, for example, they were talking about theft. My employees don't handle money. It goes into a safe. Armored come and pick up the money on a daily basis and take it to the bank. For the beer and wine in my stores, not only in this store, in the other stores, we don't sell wine. We don't sell beer in glasses. We don't sell beer single. We sell only national brand beers in a few doors. They will be locked, and we sell them only the way pre-packed by the manufacturers. So we're not mom and pop store that we just put everything in a store and let's sell it. And on top of that, the door are locked by the time the ABC require us to close. And our displays in the store are dummy displays. They're empty. They're boxes, but there's nothing in them. So we take every precaution to make sure everything is safe. Our cash registers, the minute you sliced your ID, it will give them a red light or no sale or sale for Asia purposes. So I'm concerned more than they are on this. I think our station out there will be good to the community. We'll be hiring probably some of these people if this work. We'll communicate and work with the community in any activities out there. And I think everything was over-exaggerated a little bit. This is normal, but we'll give a positive impact to everybody around us. We've done this historically, and we do it again, and hopefully you guys approve us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, if that concludes the public comments. We'll close the public comment section and deliberate. Anyone have any comments? You gonna go first?
I'll go first.
Good man.
Wow, mixed emotions. I've been in Moreno Valley since I'm not going to say it out loud, I will. 1971. I've been in the city for 47 years. So I've watched the city grow from one street light. Many orange groves were here, and the development is good. So I like to see development that is occurring on the East End because I happen to live on the East End. I started in the school district in 1988. I've been with the school district for a while. One of my main concerns is the students. And because I've been a vice principal at the school sites for many, many years, I've worked at every school site, middle school and high school. And one of the things that you see all the time is we get calls from every school site that is close to a commercial place that says it's got food, beer, wine, candy, and we sometimes have to go to the schools, to the places, Walmart, wherever it is, and pick up students that will rob and steal. I wish that there was additional code enforcements for places that want to be so close to a school. 1,000 feet is very close. One of the things that will happen is if a robbery happens, not necessarily if the person is running towards the school, a lockdown is going to occur and education is going to stop. That's each and every single time that happens. If a person robs a place and they run out and police are called, they're going to lock down the school. And education is going to stop, period, for as long as it takes for that law enforcement agency to get that situation under control. We don't want education to stop continually over and over again. One of the things I've seen over the many years that I've worked as a vice principal is that the students are looking for a place to go. They're looking for a place to fight. When the 1,500 students get out at Landmark, they're going to look for a place to fight. They're going there. The students, one of the reasons why there are teachers and adults at school sites is because they just don't make great choices. While they walk there, they're going to spend their lunch money on chips, donuts, candy, instead of eating what they should be eating at the school site. That's going to be another problem that's going to exist. Another thing that's going to happen, and I say this, it's great for revenue. He mentioned some revenue monies that would go in there. But again, all it takes is one student, and you can't put money on that if something happens to one of them. There is no amount of money. I think the cars will pull out without the benefit of the light. If that light is green and somebody's coming around that blind corner and they pull out, I think that will increase the potential for accidents as well. I think myself, if I happen to be in Kaiser and I was recovering in that bed, it doesn't matter if the car wash closes down at 10 o'clock. I might be trying to sleep at 9 o'clock in the morning to recover. And it looks like the car wash will be facing directly at Kaiser. So that would be a problem. Plus, not everybody goes to bed at 10 o'clock at night. There's some people that work night shifts and they want to sleep throughout the day. Again, there's many other things, and I do like that there's development going on there. I think it could be convenient. It's going to be very close to Paris Lake, and when the summertime hits, that's when we're really going to get a lot of traffic over there because the boats are coming in to fill up. It's going to be the closest one to Paris Lake, and it's going to be a mess. I mean, it's going to be a mess. I happen to own the boat, so I most certainly would fill up there if it was that close. And when you see 10 or 15 boats trying to get in and out of a gas station that close to a lake, it's a mess. And I don't know what we can do to get additional code enforcement, but like I said, within 1,000 feet of a school, there does need to be some more rules and regulations in place there. So again, I'm mixed because I like to see the development, But again, working in the school district, I'm the person that sits there on the phone every single day and says, hey, we got your kid down here stealing. Hey, we got these kids down here fighting. Hey, we got these kids down here. I get those calls Monday through Friday. I see that there's traffic studies, but I don't see any studies of the foot traffic of the young children that walk past there every day. That needs to occur because they don't drive cars, they walk. So there should be studies to see how many children pass by there on a daily basis. Out of the 30 some odd gas stations, I think there's 31 gas stations in Moreno Valley, this will be the closest to a school, hands down. And that is a very big potential problem for me. Thank you.
Any other comments? Well, in listening to the public testimony, it seems that Moreno Valley is a much more dangerous place than I raised my children, I have to admit. If I were an outsider listening to this, I don't know that I'd consider moving here. So I'd like to give our students and citizens a little more credit than the picture that was painted here tonight, so. Just an observation.
Yeah, I have something to say. I've been here for 34 years, and I do believe there is a gas station right by Vista Heights and Canyon Springs, just on the backside of Sunnymead Ranch, and I believe that is a lot closer than the one they're proposing tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is that gas station there.
No, it's not that close. No, it's over.
From Vista
all the way
Heights?
over- No, it's not.
To Holmes?
No. Because across the street from the gas station at Canyon Springs, I used to work there for a number of years. Directly across the street from the gas station is a lake.
Right,
And
but on
so
the
there's a
adjacent side,
buffer
there is
from
houses.
that. On the.
Vista Heights is right just west of it.
Right.
But it's on the other end of the
But
gas
there-
station.
But there are homes that right adjacent to the
It's
gas
just
station.
at the other end of the block.
The school is next to the home, but the gas station is up by the Moreno Valley Lake.
Yeah, and
But
you
there
go
are
right down the
homes.
street and there's Vista on the left.
Yeah.
Elementary school.
Yeah, yeah. Not Vista
It's the
Heights.
middle school.
Middle school.
It's the middle school.
Oh, is it middle?
Yeah, it's the
Middle
middle school.
school.
Middle school.
It's right there at corner of Pigeon Pass. And
Yep.
anyway, we digress.
Yeah, believe me.
I'm just saying that one's there very close, and
And a little bit of background about that, there were so many problems down there in that area. I want to say that because of the school students going back there behind there, the major grocery store closed down.
Yeah,
It was a lot of problems.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not sure we could substantiate that, but
Working there on a daily basis and getting the calls, it was a major.
at any rate. Well, no, I don't live in the ranch. Well, we're tasked tonight with the most difficult thing we end up having to review, and that's any time that there's a commercial zone that abuts residential.
Well, when I looked through this and the lighting, I'm not in the education business, so so I appreciate all the points and what was being said with the. I do know that the candy rack at the gas station is an attractive nuisance to lunch money for kids. That I was a offender myself when there was a Dairy Queen on my walk to school I had to cross by. So I do get that. This is one of those where the proximity to the homes is close, and I guess this is one of those things, though. I'm looking at the zoning map, and that whole area there is blank right now, except for the dialysis thing. So this is one of those, we don't like, we don't like what's being proposed, but we don't know whatever will go in there that, you know, this is, I'm not saying this is a lesser of an unknown evil, but we don't know what that will be. And that the property is to be zoned, it is zoned commercial. And so it is a commercially zoned area that is adjacent to residential homes. So any commercial is likely to have increased traffic, more foot traffic, more whatever is there. But it is the issue with the school being so close, and there, you did make some pretty bright line points that appreciate. Anyhow.
Well, as I say, this is a project that is on the transition between different uses, and there's always controversy or discussion as to how do we manage that. And it seems that whoever is there first tends to have the advantage, but in reality, that property has been zoned commercial for quite a long time, and so can't say that this is a surprise. Now, what type of commercial, that's unknown, but there is going to be development, and it's not going to be compatible with the neighbors across the street, and that's an unfortunate result of living in a bedroom community where you've got neighborhoods all over the place and infill commercial pieces that have to, at some point, abut residential properties. It's unavoidable unless somebody can invent a product that we can put between residential and commercial. This is a decision that we're going to have to make, that we do have to make on a regular basis. So I think the project is well thought out. I think they've made efforts to mitigate the things that are a concern. Their commitment to continue to be involved with the neighborhood, I think, is important, and should we vote to approve it, I think the neighborhood should definitely take them up on that and be involved in the process so that their concerns can be addressed positively. Not many developers make that offer, so I think it's something that they should definitely take advantage of. So I'm inclined to be in favor of it because of the fact that it is commercially zoned. We're not changing the zone. We're not changing the general plan. I think it's, given all the compromises that are required, I think it's a well put together project. So I think, respecting the community's opinions, everything, I think that in this case there's property owner rights that we have to respect also. So I would vote in favor of it.
Well,
Any other
yeah, I was just going to say, I do some after-school programs with seventh graders, and I know what you're talking about. And your points are very, very well taken, but when I'm sitting here, I'm putting on the commissioner's hat, and I'm saying that it does conform with the land use. And as much as I agree with you, we're also looking at the zoning, that it is appropriate. And so I'm probably going to vote for the project. Yes.
I also believe that the area is zoned, it is zoned commercial, and it is unfortunate that their area has a lot of issues, but I'm not quite so sure that the issues that are taking place right now are actually going to be something that the applicant is really going to make that big, huge of a difference. The area itself, there are issues there that needs to be addressed, and they need to be addressed at a city level, maybe with the police department, and try to clean up some of the stuff that's going on there. But anybody that goes in there, I mean, the owner himself, I think, was very, very heartfelt in his saying that, you know, he understands the issues and is addressing those the best he possibly can. And I have kids, I have grandkids, and I live in an area where there are a lot of commercial areas there, and I've got 3 schools that are butting, you know, my property, and we get a lot of noise even from the school itself, just from the stadium that was built there. But those are things that are future things that are for progress for the city and for the kids, and sometimes we just have to go with it. I know nobody wants an extra issue in their backyard, but I'm having a hard time with this one. The last one, I could see because there were a lot of houses around that area. The whole area was just nothing but homes. This area, there are homes, but there are other commercial buildings there, and we have to, as commissioners, we do have to take that into account, and that's unfortunate, and I'll probably be not, you know, I'll probably get a backlash for it, but I'm kind of like leaning toward it myself. I'm sorry to say, because of the people. And we do hear you. We do hear you.
Anyone else? Well, if we have no one else wishing to make a comment, I suggest we make a motion, unless someone has some salient points they want to bring up. Right. While somebody decides whether we want to make a motion or not, and this is a little off point, but it's something that kind of dawned on me listening to all the public testimony from the people in this neighborhood. It seems like that park is a real issue, and I think you guys, whatever happens with this project, but it seems like whatever you guys do moving forward, you should take some of this energy and put it into working with the city and doing something with that park, because it was a reoccurring theme, and that's really unfortunate that something that's supposed to be a magnet in the community and something that's a positive, more often than not, was expressed in negative terms. So that's really unfortunate. Again, side note and off topic, but soapbox. Anyone want to make a motion? Can the commissioner make a motion?
Absolutely. Anybody on the dais can.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2018-54 and 2018-55.
Motion from
I'll second.
Commissioner Korzak, second from Commissioner Baker. Please vote. All votes have been cast. Motion carries 6-1. It's approved. Thank you very much. Do we have a staff wrap-up?
Yes, the action taken by the Planning Commission this evening is an appealable action. Any interested party that would like to file an appeal may do so within 15 days of the action. If an appeal is filed, it must be in writing and directed to the Community Development Director, stating the specific reasons for the appeal, along with the appeal filing fee of $750. If an appeal is received, it will be agendized for a public hearing before the City Council within 30 days.
Thank you very much. We do have an agenda that we need to follow. Please, if you could keep the conversation to a minimum while we conclude the meeting. Thank you very much. Other commission business? There is none. Any staff comments?
I did want to just give you a quick wrap up on some items that have been before the Planning Commission previously. I think it was back in July that you reviewed, I think what's commonly called as the Yum Yum Donuts project, and it was approved by the City Council this last Tuesday night. Also on Tuesday, the City Council approved the Centerpoint Commerce Project, Centerpoint Commerce Center project, which was the warehouse project on the east side of Frederick, south of Alessandro. So that is approved. And additionally, the Brodea residential project, which was the 45 single-family residences that you considered at your last meeting, was approved by the City Council as well on Tuesday. And that's the end of my comments.
Great, thank you very much. Any planning commissioner comments? No?
Yum Yum Donuts on Paris, right?
Yes.
Paris.
Cottonwood in Paris, I believe.
Paris and
Cottonwood?
Cottonwood.
All right. Well, having no other comments, with that, we are adjourned to the next regularly scheduled meeting on January 10th, 2019, here in these chambers. Good evening, drive careful, and have a great holiday.